your late father is Donald Trump's brother. You don't have a good relationship with him.
We had for many years, but there comes a point when he said about my young son, William, who has complex disability, that he should just die.
Did he say that to you?
He said that to me.
Goodness me.
Absolutely.
Tell us about your son.
William is 25, has, again, complex disabilities, but he is, as I say, the most courageous and inspirational person I know, which is the reason why I am out there advocating on behalf of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
Gosh.
In fact, my wife and I are forming a non-for-profit called William's Journey, which I encourage your viewers to join.
Donald Trump had helped you financially, hadn't he? But then he also said that terribly upsetting, appalling thing to say.
Right. Well, there's a story behind his funding of William. That was money that was taken from my sister and me back in 2000, when Donald was in very bad financial straits. And he hatched a plan to take what my grandfather originally intended, 5 siblings, divided 5 ways, 20% through 5. My sister and I would have gotten 10% each. Okay. He hatched a plan. My aunts and uncles, his siblings, bought into it. So we didn't get we were. Just imagine, I had to ask for money that was literally mine. And that fund has been exhausted, but my wife and I marshal on and we do it. And here's, if you don't mind me just making this point, and I hear my friend Frank, and I know Frank.
Frank Luntz, the pollster,
yes.
Yep.
When Donald was elected and inaugurated in 2017, literally 2 months later, my wife and I started advocating on a national level for people like William. It culminated in a meeting in the Oval Office in 2020, where I was with a group called Equally Alive, just brilliant advocates and doctors and just brilliant people. And the meeting ended, and part of it was we wanted to say, hey, we're not just looking for billions of dollars to be thrown at it. We want to lower costs and get better services. Meeting ended, I come back in, Donald greets me with his usual, hey, pal, how's it going? And he said, and I'll never forget it. And there was somebody else in the office with us, so anybody can say I was lying. Those people, meaning the disabled, the costs to the federal government, those people should just die. So what he said about William, his grandnephew, who he never met, by the way, never met. I find it shocking that a person could say that about another human being or a group of human beings.
Fred, I think that viewers will also remember there was a moment at one of the rallies years ago where he appeared to make fun of, or try and humiliate a reporter, I think,
Serge Kovalevsky from the New York Times.
With disabilities. Right. And but he has this streak of cruelty, people might observe, which doesn't put voters off.
It doesn't put voters off, and you bring up a great point. The problem with that, not only was it grotesque what Donald did, but the people in the crowd laughed it up. They also joined in, disabled reporter. I say to myself, having a child with extreme complex disability, what if you had a son or a daughter who had disabilities, or you have a grandchild? Are you laughing? Are you thinking it's funny? I just don't get it.
The irony is, the night before last, at his final campaign rally, he talked about him having a stutter. He compared himself, Donald Trump, to Winston Churchill, who managed his stutter, and he said how cruel people were to criticise Donald Trump. This is the same Donald Trump who used to criticise Joe Biden for his stand. But there is something, it's almost like two sides to him.
Well, first of all, knowing him as long as I have him as well, I don't ever remember a stutter with Donald. But I think, and I think Frank is right, we're sort of off point now. It looks like he may win, again. So I have my thoughts, and I've made them very clear. But this has to be a time where I'm hoping he can dial it back. I'm not sure he can. I'm hoping he can dial it back to somehow. And people said this about the Madison Square.
He's going to think. He's going to think he's got his big moment.
I'd like to. I'd like to think that.
Yeah.
And people were saying, the pundits at the Madison, this is his chance to really put him over the top, make it a positive thing. Well, it was anything but positive. But absolutely, he won. He proved that that is so. That's what the country wants. And, you know, just not to be hyperbolic, but, you know, we call it the great American experience. Maybe democracy wasn't meant to be. I'm really hoping that's not the case. But we're going to be in for a very challenging number of years going forward. I hope he can look into himself and people say, would I go to his inauguration? I'm sure I won't be invited, but I think it would be hypocritical if I didn't, because I'm on a mission. I have two things in common with Donald. We both love golf. In fact, he taught me how to play golf. But we're both relentless. And I am not going to stop advocating on behalf of the people that need it, that are, in many cases, voiceless.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you for your for campaigning and for being so candid with us this morning. We really appreciate it.